Hey, what's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we're finally looking at the controller Build-A-Figure from Marvel Legends. This guy does a few things we don't normally see, and it's kinda good, but then it does other things that we do normally see, and it's kinda not so good, so I don't know, your mileage may vary on this release depending on how your paint application is, but it's an interesting one, so let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands roughly, we'll call it 20 centimeters. That's going to make him just about, I will say just shy of 8 inches, like 7 7/8. Here he is up against Darwin, so you can see there's a little bit of size. He comes up just past his nipples, and that's about 1.2 Darwins, I would say. So it's got some height to him. Let's go ahead and do a question of the day. How much do you care about controller or the controller as a character? For me, I just never found him particularly interesting, but and his design is kind of blah. It's like not Thanos design, so I don't know, it's just not my thing, but the colors are kind of nice, so there's that. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic. I think the metallic that they used, the marble plastic, which I normally don't care for, it works well enough for this guy. I think that's fine. This being extra glossy does give it some nice appeal. I think that's alright, looks good. The body is painted in the most weird way ever. I believe it's tampography based on the way it looks under his chesticles, the way we have those like sharp lines of the light blue. It doesn't look like it's actual airbrushing to me, but then again, it kind of does because we have chunks missing in places. So it's a very weird, very crappy looking paint job. It looks very strange. We have it on his tricep nubbins, but nowhere else on the back. For the legs, it's on the hips and thighs, but then not on the knees, and then the paintwork isn't continued across like the same muscle groups. It's very strange. Like, it's better than not being there, I guess, because at a distance it just looks like shading, but as soon as you're even at arm's length, it looks pretty wonky. It's pretty weird, so I don't care for that overall. Like, paint is good, but it has to be applied at least somewhat reasonably. Now on the face, on the other hand, it looks like a nice wash was applied, and I like it. I think the face sculpt and paintwork is just wonderful. Very nice. Love it. Brings the figure to life. Doesn't match the rest of the plasticky looking cartoonish type figure, so that's a little bit strange, but it's a nice head sculpt. The other thing I'll note is he does have weird proportioning, but the character tends to have weird proportioning. Overall, I think it's pretty good. It's just the way the head sits on the body. It's a little high, and you can actually see he's got lollipop syndrome. So if they knock that down a little bit, it would look okay, but he is drawn to look kind of weird in the head area, so I don't think that's too bad. I think generally, I don't know if you guys can hear the baby. It's screaming like crazy, like having fun. I don't know, those of you who have had kids, mine screams as loud as it possibly can when it's having a good time. It's only 8 months old, so it's acceptable, but she loves, anyway, if you can hear that, it's not being murdered or anything like that. It's just my wife's watching the baby while I do reviews. Okay, so it looks pretty good overall. I'd say the paints are weird, so I'm knocking it down to a 7. That paint shading is just so strange. I can't put it higher. It's so weird. I do like the sculpt though. Overall, it's a good looking sculpt. Just strange. As far as accessories go, you get the 2 open hands that come on them in the package, and then you get 2 fist hands. So that's it. I don't think you would need anything else than that, really, but that's it. That's fine. So 5 out of 10 for accessories. Let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. He does have a double ball peg technically, but look what they did. It doesn't have any side to side really. It's oblong, the opening. You have decent range forward and back, I guess, but the ball is so low in the neck again that the range is minimized. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see in there. I can barely see in there. But not only is the neck oblong, but the actual opening for the peg is oblong. It's like a slot rather than a big circular hole. So you get this giant long ball peg that has very little range. I don't know why Hasbro keeps doing stuff like that. Does the person designing this stuff just not care? Because it's obviously like, it's obvious it's not going to work and doesn't need to be that way. It's so weird. So this is somewhat flexible, but not that flexible. We'll see how the shoulders were. Okay, hey. All right, so it goes out to the side. That's fine. Going forward, yeah, it's okay. It flexes enough as long as you don't need to try to bring the arms across the chest, but you can't do anyway. It'll be okay. Bicep swivel is not the best looking thing we've seen. It's a little weirdly sculpted, but It's there. Single jointed elbows give you horrible range, and that's another rotation point. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. Weird hinge placement on this hand. Ab crunch on this guy goes back pretty well. That's alright, he doesn't even get pregnant. Look at that, it can be done. Leans forward pretty well also, that's not bad, I'll take that. Waist twist is fine, belt is not actually floaty, does it not? So that's very strange. The belt flexes, which I guess is okay, it's kind of weird looking. Can I get it below the waist? That's better looking, I guess. And that's weird the way it's connected to the crotch, but it's actually up above. Yeah, I'm sure it's actually connected in between. Very strange. Hips go almost all the way forward. They don't really go back at all. Going out to the side, not bad. A little bit better than 45, I guess. Thigh swivels are okay. Double jointed knees, very limited range. Lower legs are still too long. Not great range at all. No boot swivel. Ankles go all the way back and far enough forward, and you get an ankle rocker. It's okay. So, not good articulation. I'll give the articulation a 6. It's pretty lousy. Single jointed elbows that have no range. The neck that's just really poorly designed. Yeah, it's... Build-A-Figures used to be impressive. Now they're just slightly larger figures that you're paying for with your other figures, and they're not usually even that good. And that's what this one is. It's fine. If you're just going to stand it there on a shelf and look at it from a distance, I guess it's okay. But it's certainly not impressive in any way other than its mediocrity. It's incredibly mediocre. And like the most minimal amount of effort was applied to it. So I'm going to give it a final rating of only 5 out of 10. Unless you're really in need of a controller figure, there's just nothing here that's really enticing, I think. It's just not. I guess if you wanted to repaint it, that would help a lot, but still, it doesn't pose for crap. So, yeah, it's not on my list of figures that anybody should really bother tracking down unless they just really want the character. So you guys can let me know how you feel about that, but that's where I'm at. So there it is. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.